Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie Schiff. I am doing my contribution presentation on the life of Addie Hunton. To begin, Addie Hunton was an African American woman born in Norfolk, Virginia in 1866. Her mother died soon after, and she was sent to live with an aunt in Boston, Massachusetts. There, she attended school, received an education, graduated high school, and then went on to be the first African American to graduate Spencerian College of Commerce in Philadelphia. Spencerian College of Commerce in Philadelphia. Thereafter, she married her husband, William Alphys Hunton, and had 4 children, 2 in which died at infancy. For a few years, she helped and assisted her husband with some social activities in regards to the YMCA. Her husband was a activist for that area. Later, in which she assisted and helped and secretaried for him. And so you could kind of say her passion started there. Unfortunately, her husband ended up passing away just on the brink of World War One. And once World War One came around, she was one of 3 nurses to go to this area here in southern France. And she and 3 other African American nurses attended to over 200,000 African American soldiers. During this time and during World War One, because this area was more of a transport area for soldiers, they were tending to many of them, but in between that, they were also trying to find things for their leisure. And one of the things that these nurses, including herself, did, or they started many activities to kind of keep them busy during their recovery. Many of the things revolved around their educational needs. Some athletics, some cultural. Many of them were integrated into the French culture of the time. She and these nurses even went as far as to develop a colored library, an African American library, where they could go and still achieve whatever educational goals they had, or just use it just purely at their own leisure. These were very, big luxuries, you could say, during the war. So these were provided for the soldiers during this time and during their recoveries. One of her passions was making sure that these soldiers were met, their basic needs were met, their health was restored, but they could still achieve and accomplish many goals, as they were denied many as African Americans during this time. Though Addie Hunt did these things with such passion, when she came home, she co-authored a book in which she shares her experience of much discrimination, and how much hatred and how many awful things she still saw of the war, and then of her discrimination as an African American woman. She co-authored this book here, as well as another book that we'll discuss later on. But she also went on and wrote a book on her husband, who passed away. This book she ended up writing all by herself, but she wanted to describe his struggle as well, his personal struggle with racial discrimination. One of the things she found within her husband was his passion and success with the YMCA. Addie Hunton became the first secretary for him for the YMCA areas in the YMCA that he pursued. But she also became the actual first secretary of the YWCA, which is an area for colored women at the time that she wanted to bring about for not just the racial discrimination, but for women in general. She was a big pioneer for women's rights. So this was her area that she fought for. She also became very active in the NAACP. Pretty much from its beginning, working as its chapter organizer, a lecturer, another secretary, and she even became its vice president. So even amongst all this time, she ended up traveling to Haiti, and during her time in Haiti, fighting for the resistance of American occupation, believe it or not, she wanted to go there to help and volunteer her time, in which she found that the treatment that many Haitians were receiving was unfair, unjust, and downright wrong, in which she also not co-authored, but she contributed to the book as well, the Occupied Haiti book. So even amongst all the hatred that she experienced, she still fought for rights amongst, racial segregation and gender equality. So much so that her life left such a profound impact that her son led a great example of a life, if you will, in which he became also a peace activist and an intellectual, where he goes and he even travels throughout Africa to still continued her work. He passed away in 1960s. But yeah, Addie Hunton was a wonderful person who left an extraordinary impact